Hi guys, praying for you, hoping this ends soon, praying that this will end soon. Thank you for your prayers. We are doing well. Miss gathering with you guys, and I wanted to share a few thoughts from my devotions I was reading a few days ago in Psalms chapter 42 and 43, and there's a few verses that always stand out. Verse 5, 11, and 5 of chapter 43, because he repeats the same statement over and over again, 3 times in 11 verses. He is struggling with his feelings, with his emotions. So he says, "Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil? Hope in God. I shall again praise him, my salvation and my God." And that he repeats it 3 times in such a short span is something that stands out every time that I read it. But what got my attention this time is one of the reasons that he mentions in verse 4. He remembers when he was in the house of God with the congregation, and at the present he can't be there, and that affects his feelings. He's sad over it, which is one of the things that we're going through nowadays. So that's why it grabbed my attention. Now he mentions other reasons. There's attacks from the enemy, other circumstances around him, and they're like waves that are going over him. And it reminds me of a quote, I believe it's Spurgeon, that said, "I have learned to kiss the waves that toss me against the rock of ages." I love the quote. But like Joe says, I want the correspondence course. I don't want to go through that in an experience. But what Spurgeon has learned, and what we learn, is that the trials bring us closer to God. They purify us, and they make us more dependent on God. So I love that quote. Another thing that I noticed is whatever the psalmist is going through, the reasons that he gives, things from the past, circumstances from the present, he is wrestling through them. And he's telling himself his problems and his feelings are casting him down, but he's telling himself to hope in God. He doesn't surrender to his emotions and to his feelings. He is pushing through them. He wants to surrender to God, to hope in God. He wants to be led by God, by God's truth, not by his feelings. And I love verse 3 and 4 of chapter 43. He says, "Send your light and your truth. Let them lead me." Not my feelings, not my emotions. He's wrestling with them because he wants God's understanding, God's light, and God's truth to be what leads him. And then he continues to say in verse 4 that they will lead him to his presence, the end of verse 3, "To God my exceeding joy." I love that. That is why he's fighting through the circumstances that are bringing him down. He knows that I'm waiting on God, trusting God, hoping in God, he will experience joy. So there's a few lessons there. First, that whatever we're going through, whatever is bringing us down, whatever is troubling us, the solution to it is to hope, to trust in God. The other thing is that we may have to wrestle through it. We may have to continue to persist in prayer, to preach to ourselves, to hope in God. And the third thing is how he fights with his feelings. He's fighting in prayer. He's asking God for help. And he's depending on God's truth, because he knows he will experience his presence, and in his presence he will have joy. So I just wanted to share those thoughts. They were a blessing to me. I hope to bless you. God bless you. Love you. Hope to see you soon.